What's up, everybody? Hello. Probably just take it a little slow for a couple minutes, wait for people to get in here, you know? It's nice to see a little bit of a turn up. What's up, everybody? Hello. Probably just take it a little slow for a couple minutes, wait for what up, what up? Y'all excited for some sculpting today? It's nice to see a little bit of a turn up. From the very beginning, guys, I'd like people, if they want to, feel free to use the chat and be active. So if you're out there, just say hello or something. And I'll introduce myself in a second. What's up, Christopher? How you doing? If you're out there, just say hello or something. Yeah, it's gonna be a nice stream. What's up, Christopher? How you doing? Also, don't forget to tell your friends, your family. Everybody can learn a little bit of sculpting. It's gonna be a nice stream. It's good for the soul, I think. Damn, this room is so hot. Also, don't forget to tell your friends, your family. Everybody can learn a little bit of sculpting. It's good for the soul, I think. Okay. So, I am Unga. I'm a student here at CADA, and for the foreseeable future I'll be your bootcamp instructor. So that means we'll be doing a set of 4 bootcamps, so over 4 weeks we'll go on Wednesdays. So today is sculpting, and then next week will be modeling, then the week after that texturing, and then in the very end we'll do level design on Unreal, which will be super fun. Today is sculpting, which is one of my favorite things. 4 weeks, we'll go on Wednesdays. So, today is sculpting. I just started the 3rd semester here. What's up, Illustrate? Then at the very end, we'll do level design. So, I've been here at the school for 1 year now. Actually, while we're at it, I'd like to show some of the stuff that I've been doing. I just started the 1st semester here. I like introductions. It's nice to get to know each other. And while we're on that topic, I've been here at the school for 1 year. Okay, sure, that's a good call. While we're at it, I'd like to show some of the stuff that I... Is it better now? Am I more audible? Christopher, sorry about that. It's nice to get to know each other. I was just introducing myself. While we're on that topic. Yeah. And maybe while we're doing introductions, if anyone wants to, you guys could tell me a little about about yourself, you know, like, am I more audible? Are you completely new to 3D? Have you done a little bit before? I was just introducing myself. Have you done any sculpting, maybe in real life with clay or something? That can be very useful for this too. Maybe while we're doing introductions, if anyone wants to, you guys could... Any amount of experience is totally fine. Yourself, you know, like, am I more audible? Are you completely new to 3D? Have you done a little bit? Do you have a tablet? Are you using a mouse and keyboard? Maybe both is okay too for this. That can be very useful for this too. Any amount of experience is totally fine. Wouldn't mind if you were louder. Alright. Let's see what we can do. Maybe I can move the mic a little closer. Like this. Then I can turn down the music a little bit more. Perhaps. Let me know, everybody, how's the sound coming through to you? Alright. Let's see what we can do. Maybe I can move the mic a little closer. Ooh, I have echo on like that. Tablet gang, let's go. There we go. Okay, the audio should be better now. I'm sorry. I think there's like some kind of echo going on there. Yeah. So let's get a bit more into some 3D stuff. Boom. This is for later. Just gonna show my art station. I mean, not a lot of new stuff on here, but this is like some old practice sculpts I did. I did this. Couldn't find my tablet, that's fine. We just go with the mouse, right? It'll be fine. I'll learn, like, I'll teach some more basic, like, principle stuff. So once you find your tablet, or you get a tablet, you can just use that knowledge, because that sets up there. Echo is gone now. Great. Yeah, so this is done in ZBrush, and this is done in ZBrush too. Both stuff I did, very different in nature. ZBrush is very versatile. It's just audio is fine now. Great. What's up, Jenny? How are you doing? Yeah, this is some school stuff actually, which is kind of cool. I hope everybody's getting cozy and getting ready to do some ZBrush shit. So I'd like to do like a round of, you know, I'd like to get to know how much experience people have out there, so I can kind of, you know, tailor what I'm doing towards that. Are people coming in here with any experience at all, or are you completely new? Recently started playing around with 3D modeling, but I'm still very much a beginner. Fair enough. That's great. I mean, that's perfect. You get an introduction to sculpting too. Sculpting is kind of like 3D modeling, but it's a little more playful, you know? You're a little bit less restrained, sort of. But that also comes with some other sort of quirks that you gotta get around. Have you been liking CADA so far? I mean, definitely. It's an education, so it doesn't come for free, right? Like, you gotta put in the hours yourself and you gotta work for it. But towards what I'm trying to do, I've evolved a lot while I've been here, and that's what's really valuable for me. Done a couple of donuts, haven't we all? No, to be honest, I feel like everybody has done the donuts but me. Yeah. The first 3D tutorial I did was like before the donut tutorial, really. And it was so terrible it made me quit 3D for a couple of years. It was like some kind of grass simulation or something. I wish I had the donut back then. A few tries in Blender, that's cool. What kind of stuff have you been doing in Blender? And, you know, by the way, feel free to ask me any kind of questions related to 3D, like I'll happily answer them. I'm just here to be your, you know, your instructor for a while. If that means some modeling questions or something, that's totally fine too, you know, I'm all here for it. I am not bothered by that kind of stuff at all. If you have questions regarding the school and stuff, you know, feel free to ask about that kind of stuff too. Okay. So for today, it's important for me to kind of keep the subject a little bit abstract. I feel like everybody should just do whatever it is that they feel like doing, but I'll kind of give a general theme and I'll take it from there, right? So if you feel like doing something that's a bit off theme, that's totally fine too. Spaceship shapes, nothing fancy. Yeah, for sure, Jenny. I mean, it is a great hobby, like what we're about to do today. It's just really sort of, if you get comfortable with it and if you don't worry too much about the result, but kind of focus more on the path to get there, it will almost be a little bit meditative, you know? Sort of similar to painting in a sense, if anyone has done that before. But yeah, back to the theme of today. We're doing beetles. And I was a little bit in between, should we do beetles or should we do some kind of ancient relic or something? So I'm going somewhere in between, right? So this is my pure ref, so just a bit of inspiration for what we're gonna do today. Some kind of scarab beetle I was thinking for myself, and then I'll make it into a kind of like an ancient artifact. And if anyone does not have ZBrush Core Mini yet, I would definitely recommend downloading that already so you can follow along. And please let me know if you already did download ZBrush Core so I don't wait for anyone, you know, or if you need a couple minutes, let me know too. So yeah, theme, beetle, ancient relic, something a bit abstract. You can do something that's not this beetle, you can do your own little fantasy thing. your own little fantasy beetle. I think it'd be kind of cute and fun if we all stuck somewhat to the theme, but you go ahead and do whatever you feel that your heart desires. And yeah, and once you finish, it would be really great if we could all sort of share the work on the Discord. You got it? Great. So, point number 1 of sculpting has nothing to do with sculpting. Find a community. Communities are great. It makes the hobby a lot more fun, and if you're doing it as a more career-driven thing, it makes your life a lot easier too. So we have the CADA Discord. You guys should definitely join that if you can, because we have the Bootcamp chats in there, and you can post your work and share it with other Bootcamp, participators. Cute concept. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was like in between too, so it became something in between too. I think it'll be fun. It can be abstract too, you know? Like some of the core principles of sculpting, they're just about creating interesting shapes, you know? So we'll try that. Has anyone been drawing in here? Anyone got some kind of drawing experience? And feel free to boot up Core Mini while I'm talking. Alright. So let's just start off slowly while people get into it, right? Evening all, what's up Carl? How are you doing? So for the people on the mouse, you just, and mouse and, you know, pen is sort of similar too. Today I'll be using the pen, because I like doing that, but you can definitely follow along on the mouse. So I'll go over like the basic navigation first on the mouse. You draw? Great, okay. That's cool, that's cool. So you'll have a bit of understanding of shapes and stuff. That's great. I'll get into a little bit of the difference between drawing and sculpting in a second. And actually, in the beginning, it can be a little challenging if you've been drawing a lot, because you gotta be able to translate what you know as lines into shapes when it comes to 3D. And that's an interesting topic, and it'll be very fun to sort of challenge yourself in that way. Yeah, but sure, anyways, so first off, just for visibility's sake, I'll make a little mark on our ball here. So once you open up the software, you should have a ball here, and if you don't have it, you can just create this. Click the little button up in the left corner to make a new ball. This will basically just reset everything, and you have a fresh ball. And if I ever go too fast and you need something repeated, just go ahead and ask, and I'll be more than happy to do that for you. That's why I'm here, you know. That's why we do it live and it's not a YouTube video, because I can kind of go over stuff if it goes too fast and everything like that. But I make a mark on my ball here just so you can see that once you left click out in the open space and drag around, you can rotate your sphere. Yep. If you hold shift, it kind of snaps too while you rotate. Shift left click. And if you ever get to a position where like, oh my god, I don't know which way stuff is going, if you look up in the right corner, there's actually a little guy up there, and the little guy can help you sort of get back home. So if you click him, you can drag him around and you can sort of pick which way he's facing. And this will be important for the future when you're using mirrors and stuff like that. So when you're drawing on both sides at the same time, gotta make sure it's turned right. That's the turning. And if you wanna pan around, you hold Alt and then you do the same, you click left. So Alt, left click on the canvas will pan you around. And then you can combine them, so left click to rotate around, Alt left click to pan. Something I would really appreciate, whenever it's possible, if you ever feel like it, and you got a couple of hands or fingers free or whatever, just let me know if you're following along and if everything is going sort of fast enough, or maybe it's too slow, I don't know. So feel free to let me know that. Now the zooming in ZBrush is a little strange. That's the one that people kind of get a bit confused with, because it's very different from Blender and Maya and stuff like that. So what you do is you hold Alt, you left click, and then you let go of Alt. Then you can zoom in. So once again, because it can be a little strange, you left click, you hold Alt, and then you let go of Alt. Wait, I did it too slow for my own brain. My muscle memory didn't catch up. No, Alt, left click, let go of Alt. There it is. Alt, left click, let go of Alt. So you can use all these in combination. And I would just recommend right now to just sit there and like do this for a little bit. You know, get used to it. Rotate left click, Alt left click to pan around, let go of Alt to zoom in and out. Kind of do this for a second, right? Okay. And what we're using today is Core Mini, right? So I'll be going over some more of these functions in here, but just know that it's a very simple version of ZBrush basically. So there's a lot of stuff that's missing and a lot of stuff that's a little bit different, but you'll get the idea of it, right? And then if you think it's really fun, I would definitely recommend looking into getting the real ZBrush, because that is a lot of fun. And also while I'm talking, if you're like, oh my god, I already did this, why is he repeating it? I would recommend spending the time finding some cool references that you like. Just go on Google Images and find something that you find is cool. Okay, so basically what we do to sculpt in 3D is, I mean, sort of similar to real life really. We just layer material on top of our 3D model, but then some stuff is different, right? So right here I have my different brushes up in the top left, and I can just pick the standard one and then go over. Oh, actually I should go over the tablet controls too, even though they're very similar. So you just click outside, rotate, Alt, and then same with the tablet. Alt, click on your screen, let go of Alt, you zoom in and out. Okay, nothing different about that. Right, so this is the advantage. Even with just a standard brush, you can see once I picked up my tablet, if I touch it and touch it very lightly, it's sorta not that harsh, but as soon as I press down you get that more defined brush stroke, right? And with the mouse you either click it or you don't, right? So it's all the same sort of hardness, and that's the advantage of using a pen. You can adjust the thickness just by pressing harder or less hard, right? And you can sort of go over the surface nicely too. So yeah, we have a bunch of different brushes. We'll look into those. For now, I'd like to introduce you to the draw size, which is very important, and I'll be switching this around a lot. So the shortcut for that is just S, and you get this little draw size slider. Simply makes your brush thicker or bigger or smaller, right? Yeah. If you ever get lost, say you're like out here, I don't know what's happening, you can click F, or you can click the frame button out here. Is everybody with me so far? I hope so. And if I lose people, feel free to ask. What's up, Carl? Do you have any experience with 3D, Carl? I asked the people before if they had some kind of experience, sort of where they're coming from. And maybe what would be really interesting too is what would you guys like to do with it, you know? Is it just a hobby thing? Do you want to make sculptures? Yeah, okay, following along, that's great. Nice. Okay. So, yeah. And this is like a little quirk of Core Mini. Don't worry too much about it, but we'll get into that. So if you draw with a big brush, it gets kind of pixelated, because that's part of how Core Mini functions. So at this point, first thing to do while sculpting, you go for big shapes. So I think we should just get straight into it. And before we do get into it, I'd like to let you guys know that if we get submissions, we will pick out of the submissions, or we will vote, and then the winner will get their stuff 3D printed. We did that once before. So if you think that's a cool thing, join the Discord and then submit your work at the end of it, and you might get a chance to get your stuff 3D printed. And if you're interested in the school, you could come pick up your 3D print at the next bootcamp. Oh. For not, I would enjoy doing it for a job. Yeah, for now it's a hobby, but you'd like doing it for a job, yeah. I'd like to become a 3D artist in the future, but for now it'll be a hobby. Fair enough. AutoCAD, SolidWorks, Siemens industry, and I'm fed up with this more of new breather for me, and I want to learn the workflow and how to sculpt and other stuff. Yeah, for sure, man. Actually, before I started this school, I was studying machine engineering at DTU. So we're obviously also doing some CAD stuff, and I always really liked the idea of, you know, making like tangible stuff, right? And this was also like a sort of new path for me, and I think it's really, really cool. Yeah. Okay, everybody. So you can follow along with my concept or find your own idea or whatever. Everything is okay. So I have this on my other screen right now, so you won't be able to see it most of the time. But I'll just go along and try to sort of get this main shape for a scarab. And it's really important with sculpting, don't get bogged down into smaller shapes right away or the details, right? Really focus on the big shape and then work your way down. So if you find some kind of reference, try to train your eyes to see what the larger shapes are. Because I'm also an engineer, I totally understand. Yeah, cool. What kind of engineer? After 10 years you puke over it. Yeah, I can see that, right? I mean, I really like 3D because it feels like I really like learning, and I sort of don't like when I get stuck in a subject and it feels like I'm just working to work. And I feel like with 3D it's so infinitely expandable, and you can keep learning new skills within the field that can help you in moving in new directions. So I really enjoy that as a software engineer. That's cool. Okay guys, so I'll start off by maybe doing some kind of head shape, and I want you guys to not be scared of just starting to pull and push stuff, right? So what I did is I made a very large move brush, and I'm just pulling the clay around. That's it. So left click to rotate around, and I'm pulling the clay around. And you'll notice that I'm actually pulling in both directions at the same time, because I have this mirror on up here. And once you have that on, you can sort of do a mirrored pull. You can get some kind of fun shape. Keep it abstract, don't worry too much about it, you know. It's just an introduction to how the software works. Tetra Pak machines, and now it's the wheelchairs. Okay, that's cool. So are you working more on the production side of it, or I mean, maybe I shouldn't ask so much about your work. I'm guessing you're actually here to sort of get away from it a little bit, is what it sounds like. My bad, man. But yeah, I am still a little bit interested in engineering too, you know. I think it's actually cool. So I'm just making like a weird little sausage shape. Nothing too special. But I'm kind of seeing what this could be and not what it is. So if I look right here, sort of looking at this shape right here and trying to replicate something that looks like it. And now it's where, if you've done a little bit of drawing, you could kind of look at the outline of this and go, well, okay, it sort of looks like the right shape or whatever. Or maybe it doesn't. But then in 3D you also gotta think about the 3D forms of it. So not just what is the outline from that angle, but then you gotta go around. So what I like to do is I like to use the clay buildup. And in its essence, what it does is it just lays down like a strip of clay. And for now, I mean, I just love for people to just play around, right? Don't worry too much about it. If something goes wrong, what you do is... Floor no more. Sorry if I type a lot. No, it's fine. I love interacting with people, you know. That's why I do it live and why it's not just a YouTube video, you know. This is fun for me as well. And at this point, you know, everything I do is sort of connected to 3D in some way, like my friends and stuff like that. So hearing from people outside of that space is also very interesting for me too. And 3D is one of those things where you can use a lot of information that you get from outside the space too. But yeah, anyway, so what I was saying is don't be afraid to just go ham on this mesh right now, this clay block. So if something happens and you're like, oh, you know, I kind of wish it wasn't so jagged or something like that, you can smooth it by holding shift. So you can go over the mesh and you can hold shift. And if you want to smooth it even more, you just make the brush a little bit bigger and it does like a harsher smoothing on it. So kind of like imagine rubbing your fingers across a piece of clay, right, to like smooth out the surface of it. Right? If we make the brush a bit bigger here, you can sort of layer clay on top of this shape like this. But also, if you hold Alt, you can dig out clay too. So you see the difference there? Normally, just layer clay, Alt to dig out clay. Does everything make sense so far to y'all? Let me know. And I guarantee you, if you have a question, there's probably a couple more of the people watching that also are wondering about the same thing. So don't be scared to ask questions. I'd really love it if you did, because it just makes my life a little bit easier too, you know. And I'm not really doing anything specific right now. I'm just building up shape, and I'm hoping while I'm doing this that you all can get a little bit familiar with the buttons. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and smooth this out right now. Okay, so if we were to draw something here, so right now I'm gonna try to make this big shape up here and then this larger body shape up here. If you're about to draw something and we're just doing like a sketch or something, we just put a line in between them, right? Because that's what we see. But it's important to consider what that line is in 3D space, right? Because there is actually no line, we just perceive it that way. But what it is one big shape that's meeting another big shape. So let's just go ahead and do that, right? So this is the way that I sort of like to build up shapes, and there's no real right or wrong way to do that. You could do it with the mouse too. Instead of doing that, you can pick like the standard brush, make it a bit small, and then do this, right? And build up some kind of cool shape like that. I like to be a little bit more free-form with it, so I like to use the clay build-up brush and sort of go over my strokes like this a little bit, and then smooth it over afterwards, and just go over stuff like this. And keep in mind, even though it's gonna be looking like some kind of cool relic, I'm not doing all these like small details right now. I'm just worrying about the big shape. And then once we have the big shape, we can layer in all these cool little things. Yeah. You can think about how much separation do you want between these shapes. Just play around with it, really. Maybe I can make the brush a bit bigger and just go ahead and sculpt something cool in there. I'd like it to have sort of like a stomach area too, so I'm separating it out down here. And then maybe here I can carve in. So holding Alt, I'm carving in here. And then even though it's very rough right now, you can kind of feel how that's actually like almost coming off our main mesh as sort of like a little shell or like a little piece. And yeah, of course, if you're not going for what I'm going for, just continue with whatever it is that you're doing. And yeah, just listen and follow along and chill with me, you know. And we kind of have this. And let's say we find it very jagged and we want to sort of redo it a little bit. We can go over it, and holding shift I can sort of smooth it down. And it is very bumpy. Totally, I get that. And I'll leave it because it's not really about making it perfect right now. It's about getting the shape and then refining. Because if you get too bogged down and like too worried about everything being perfect right now, then you'll be too scared of changing it when something doesn't work, and we don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and make sort of the little head piece right here. A little exoskeleton piece. And I'm on purpose not really worrying about it being too physically accurate to what a real scarab is like, you know. It's not really about that today, at least. It's about just playing around with making shapes and learning the software. So I can go ahead and now I see my shapes, and it's like the proportions are kind of a little bit not where I want to have them. So I take a move brush, I make it big, and I start moving stuff around to my liking. Guys, let me know if this stuff is making sense for you, if it's useful, if you feel like you're able to play around like you're supposed to a little bit, you know. Can you sort of see where this process is going, like how it's gonna come together a little bit? Are you guys able to build up the shapes and stuff like that? So here from the top it kind of looks somewhat like what it is that we want. But we gotta remember this sort of three-dimensionality of the shape, and from the side it looks really, really strange, right? It doesn't look like what we want at all. So you can sort of see what is it that feels different about a real beetle shape. Well, it's kind of a lot more flat at the bottom. All clear, that's great. So let's try to flatten it out and get more of a beetle feeling shape. This is why we don't get too attached to what we have right now, because we're gonna do big changes to it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and flatten this out at the bottom, at least get that right beetle feeling shape in there. And I think if you're good at drawing and painting, this whole getting the right shape thing, you might actually be able to do it even faster than me sometimes. Just because you have that eye for observation, right? That's super important when it comes to sculpting. It's all about understanding what the shape is supposed to be. I had one of the first days at the school here, I came in with a little bit of 3D experience, and I sat next to a very, very, very talented artist, and I was trying to do a goofy little frog, and the shape wasn't working right for me. And keep in mind, this person had like never touched ZBrush before. The shape wasn't working for me, and she just reached over and I had it on the move brush, and I explained to her how it worked, and she just started dragging around in this shape, and it just looked instantly 10 times better, you know. So if you have that art background, it definitely helps. And if you don't have any art background, there's also like a fun sort of beginning to that journey as well. Because even though there is technicality to ZBrush, it is definitely still a lot about the art side of things. Are you all still doing a main shape, or did you already get impatient and move on to details? Let me know, because I know it can be tempting, but I think I'll also move on a little bit more at this point. So I was debating with myself whether or not I should try to get a little head in there, but I think we should. So there's this very cool brush I just picked called the snake hook, and you can sort of drag out meshes from it, which is pretty cool. So if you wanted to make some in progress, okay, great. Just keep going while I explain this brush. You can look a little. It's just, you can drag out some shapes. So if you want to make some really alien creature, you could do that, right? Or if you want to make it into a horned beetle, it would also be great for that. And then you just go ahead and you refine on top of this mesh. Main shape is down, moved on a little bit. Okay, Clarissa is flexing, but I know her and she's good at what she does, so that's understandable. Yeah, so this brush is great for just dragging out shapes, and I'll just use it right here to drag out a little head. And then we refine that head. Oops. So right now what I did, I zoomed in too far. What do? We click F, or we click the little frame button out here, and we'll zoom out again. So now I have the shape, but it is way too soft compared to what we actually want, unless we want this kind of beetle here. So I want to separate the shape a little bit, because I think that'll look cool. So I go in with my clay buildup, lower the intensity, or draw size a little bit, and we try to separate these. And yeah, obviously right now it doesn't look ideal because it's super jagged, but what I'm focusing on in this exact moment is just getting the volumes where they're supposed to be, not about how it looks, kind of, if that makes sense. So for me, I find it easier to dig out a hole and then build the clay on top of that, because as you can see now, what we can do if we wanted to, we can go back in where there's this space here, and we can build up a volume that meets the other volume. And so we kind of get that separation of the shapes right there. And we're not doing that by making a line, we're doing that by making a plane change between two volumes. And if you've been painting, you obviously know what I'm talking about, right? Because that's what you do with paint and light. But here we just do it by actually manipulating the shape. And excuse me if there's any beetle experts out there in the chat. My beetle anatomy is not exactly ideal, but I'll just try my best and have a little bit of fun with it. Alright. It is something. I think it is good enough for demonstration's sake. If you really wanted to, you could snake hook out some little mouth pincers. I don't know if I'll keep them for now, but it is a possibility. If someone feels like they're ready to move on from the main shape, just go ahead and let me know, guys. It is the first time I make a beetle on the stream, so it would be really nice to know how difficult it is for people, right? Because it can be a little challenging to tell sometimes how long stuff will take. Just going over the surface right now and refining the shape a little bit. Now, because I want this to be a relic, I would like to exaggerate the shapes a little bit more than what might actually be physically accurate. Just because it's kind of cool to do in sculpture and something that has been done throughout history. And it'd be cool if it gave that kind of ancient Egyptian sort of vibe or something like that. Let's see, the head should probably be a little smaller. And because my shapes are not completely ideal, to make it really read as a beetle, I'll exaggerate this little wing segmentation right here. I think that should help. Kind of gives that beetle feeling a lot. So again, I dig out a crevice, and this crevice is not what you want, because you might actually in your mind see a line there, but you don't want to just dig out a crevice and make a mind. The reason why I make the crevice is so I can fill up the shape and make that plane change. I hope that's making sense for people, what I mean by building up a shape and making a plane change instead of just making a line there. We go. So I think at this point the shapes are howdy. What's up, Christian? How you doing? We're doing a little beetle sort of artifact thing. I was in between a beetle and an ancient artifact, so I chose both. Like a little scarab looking thing. Just working on the main shapes now, and then we're gonna move on to detailing. Waiting for people to sort of get their shapes where they want them.
You gotta just go for it. Don't think about what comes after or what came before. You just gotta
Is it working out for people? Do you guys need some tips on if there's something that's feeling difficult or like one of the shapes that you can't really get? Let me know, and I'll happily help out. Looking awesome. Yeah, thank you. Looking like a blob so far, but it's awesome looking in our heads. And it will be awesome, but that's the process. Big shapes first, and then we go to the awesome detail. Okay, fair enough, guys. So I think trust the process. Yeah, for sure. And don't be scared, guys. There's gonna be a point in your piece of art where you're just like, oh my god, this will never turn out. But once you get over that hump, you realize that it'll probably be amazing in the end. So I will move on to detailing with my piece. And for the people following along, don't feel rushed to move on straight away. The main shape is important. So you can just join me once you're ready with the detailing. And so what kind of detailing am I really talking about? Well, we'll just do random stuff that we feel is kind of cool, and we'll just see where the patterns take us, right? So I'd like to do some kind of rim and maybe make it look like a little golden piece of something. I don't know. But to go on to the detailing part, I'll lower my brush size, and S again, for those that forgot, is the shortcut for that. And I'll keep mirroring because I want it to be mostly mirrored as a piece. And we can go ahead and we can make a little rim on it. Say for almost any sculpture, like the first part of it, the main shapes are honestly the hardest, right? And then once you move on to the detailing, it becomes more of a meditative process. And I'm not much of a painter drawer myself. I do a little bit, but I hear from the people that's very good at that yeah, once you start rendering your sketch, that's also like hard part done, and then you move on to the more chill, meditative sort of stage of the work. So we're getting this kind of cool rim on there. I actually really like that, so I'm gonna go ahead and emphasize it a little bit more. And we gotta figure out what to do for the bottom. And I'm not gonna go too crazy with the bottom, because I want my piece to be mostly seen from the top. So maybe what we can do is sort of shape it up a little bit. Not spend too much on it, too much time on it, I should say. Are people enjoying the process of working with this so far? I'd like to know how the people are doing. It should really just be you taking the sculpt wherever you feel like it should go. Today I'm just being very lax about it, especially since some of y'all wanted to sculpt as a hobby, and especially if you're doing it to get away from everyday stress stuff and work. It's really nice to just do like a little lax sculpt. Yeah, it's fun, that's great. Happy to hear it. So what I'm doing here is sort of, I don't really know what to do with the bottom yet, so what I'm doing is I'm just sort of letting my hand define some kind of shape, right? It's sort of better to have a defined shape than a mess. Just trying to get a hang of the controls more and more. Yeah, that's great. And it's very core. I mean, the controls are simple enough, and once you know those, you can do a lot of stuff with it. Keep the workflow as it is. Great. And you can look up whatever you feel like is gonna inspire you. Remember, for a different sculpt, I looked up like like tribal tattoos, for example. Okay, not those kind of tattoos. It was not. And you can look up some weird, interesting patterns. But for today, I mean, yeah, like ancient relic. See if there's something cool in here. Get inspired by something, right? Whatever it is that you feel like. And then transfer that into your sculpt somehow. Doesn't have to be too specific. Just keeping it a little bit abstract today, because I think that's a good way to get used to the program. No need to put the pressure on you to recreate something already when all you're doing is getting used to the controls. This kind of pattern is really cool, right? But I also like these sort of very almost rigid structures, right? Like this, boom, 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 like little pillars on the back. do like these lines too, mixed with the dots. So maybe we can get inspired by these. So what I like to do is, once I find something cool, I can just drag it into my PureBreath. It's a very cool software, this one. Definitely recommend you all to Google stuff that you're inspired by too. Let's see how that turns out. And I think this rim should go all the way around because I really like it. Maybe except on the head. And again, at the bottom, I'm defining a shape. And maybe later I'll figure out something cool to do with it, but for now I think it should just be a shape. Sort of like that. So you kind of see I'm making a little plane shift here, even though it's nothing too specific. Okay, and don't forget to save, everybody. I should have probably saved a long time ago. I hope no one crashed so far. Yeah, so let's see. You click this little button up in the top left that says save project as. So I'll save it as Scarab Artifact. And if you really love what you have, which it might sound silly, but I would recommend not falling in love with it too fast because you'll get scared of ruining it. But if you really do love it, you can save it before you do a big change. And if you don't like that change, you can go back. So I'll sort of think about a little pattern that I want on the back, and I'm sketching out here. It would be cool to sketch out something on paper first, but right now I'm just sketching it out on the back. So maybe if we had something cool like that. And I'm getting inspired a little bit by this one. Oops. But let's see if we can also get some of the dynamics of this sword pattern in there, because that's really cool. There's this whole thing about, you know, lines and shapes and dynamic and static and all of that. And if you really want to get into it, you can definitely do that, but I mean, I'm still learning all that stuff, right? If we have some of the people in here with a little bit more art experience, they might already know that stuff. So right now I'm just making the marks, and we'll turn this into actual volume. But for now I'm just figuring out how this pattern should go. So kinda. And now it becomes difficult, because even though it is kind of cool with the staticness here, it can become a little bit difficult to follow up on it. So I'm almost like squinting to sort of see. I do like something. Yeah. Actually scratch that. That's the part where you just play around, right? So also at a point, depending on your PC, depending on the brush sizes you use, you might get a high like res mesh, and Core Mini has, how should I say, limitations to how many polygons you can have. And polygons are what your sculpture is made out of. Don't need to know too much about those right now, but just know that if your PC starts lagging or if it says it's too many, you can click these buttons up here and it will transform your sculpture into something with less polygons, so it's very useful, and you can always click these. So if I go ahead and click low, it'll think for a bit, and then boom, now it is 150,000 polygons instead of 300,000. What's up, Harrowzip? Feel free to follow along. We're making a little beetle ancient artifact relic sort of thing, keeping the abstract, letting everybody do whatever it is that they feel like fits the theme. Nothing too serious. So I think it'd be cool also as a way to separate these shapes if maybe the rim actually connected up here, because I felt like this whole area was a little soft, right? Didn't really feel that satisfying when it came to plane shifting. And I might be using a lot of lingo that makes sense to no one else but me, and I do apologize for that. It's just that I can't really find the words for it. But I'm sure as you're moving the brush across your own surface and your own sculpture, you'll also get feelings that you can't really find the words for, but you'll sort of just let your imagination take you and control where your brush strokes go. I just felt like this would be a cool separation right here. And the way I'm sculpting here, where I'm just building up slowly with the clay build-up, going over it over and again, it's not like there's any rule that says you should do that to sculpt in ZBrush. That's sort of just what I figured out, I kind of enjoy doing, and what feels natural to me. And I'm sure many people do it very differently. Also many people that are way better than I am. So for now, just do whatever it is that you feel like makes sense for you in your hand. Maybe I could ask you all, so far what do you think has been, or has there been anything that felt a little difficult maybe to sort of get around or figure out or something, or has everything been smooth sailing so far? Also, if you want to see your sculpture in a different light and material, there's these options out here. So you can kind of see it in gold as well. That could be kind of cool. For now, I'll keep it here. So right now it's starting to lag a little bit again, if you can see that. I don't know if it shows up on stream, but I'll just click this low button up right up here, then it'll think for a second. Yeah. I hope the silence in the chat after that question means that everybody is hard at work. I'll take that as a good thing. But do feel free to ask anything if there is something, guys. That's what I'm here for, you know. That's why it's live. And I'll reiterate, I'm sure if you have a question, that a lot of other people in the chat have the same question. Can we do some kind of... Ooh, I do like that. It kind of flows nice. Focused. Fair enough, fair enough. In that case, I hope my talking is not disturbing you, being hard at work too much then. So I'm just sort of ghosting in lines right now. Seeing if there's anything I can sort of get to stick right now, because there's this thing where once you see it, you know that's the one. I do actually really like this pattern on the back here, so it's quite calming. Well, I'm glad. Yeah, I mean, it can be nice. I have been sculpting with friends before in ZBrush, and, you know, everybody just hanging out, and it can be very calming, you know, just having casual conversation while detailing away at your sculptures. It can be quite nice. Ooh, okay. What if we go totally the other way up here? We do some kind of geometric. I do like that. I actually really like that. Okay. And now I'll go in with some super fine detailing, I think. I'm imagining this piece being like a, how should I say it, like a, maybe like valuable is the right way to explain it. Like maybe it was made in ancient times and it was like made as a ritual piece or for an emperor or a king or something. It's not really important what the story is, but I think having a story in your head or like a goal or something, it can help you make decisions, and it can help you make your piece feel like a whole instead of split apart, because then at some point you're thinking one thing and then another you're thinking another thing. It kind of sounds obvious when I say it like that, but you know, it is actually something that is easy to forget once you get in the zone, that it is supposed to tell a story a little bit, to feel like something, because that is what people connect with. They connect, you know, no matter what it is, even if it's an object or something, they connect with the history of it a little bit. So I do wonder if we can make some kind of cool detail right here. So I just go in and do some kind of abstract thing. And as I get into the smaller and smaller brushes, I'll start using this remesh function up here a lot, because it becomes very dense in polygons, and it will slow down the software a lot. And the real ZBrush is a lot better at handling these kind of high polygon meshes than ZBrush Core Mini is. But that doesn't mean it's not usable. For now it is definitely usable. Okay, there's this polish brush that I'm gonna use now. It's basically what it does, hence the name, is it flattens out a surface. So we can kind of try it out here. It's one of those brushes that are actually really powerful. Oops. If you know how to use it. So I'm going back and polishing some of these surfaces. Trying to be not too scared of ruining it. Of course, that's a little difficult, because no matter how many times I tell myself don't get attached to the work, you might destroy it, I still do a little bit. I still do. Okay. Maybe I'll put in a big crown piece. I kind of did that the last time I streamed too. So I'm reusing a little trick I did, but I think it would just look really cool here too. Oh. I don't know if this is gonna look good or if it's gonna ruin it. You know what? I'm just gonna save just in case. But I feel like it might look cool, and I want to challenge myself to be brave. So should all of you, and I want to be a good example. So let's go ahead and do something crazy on it. And the thing about being brave is just that it's just about the fact that you end up trying a lot more stuff, and in the long run, I think your work will just turn out really, really cool. I think that's sort of cool. Right, everybody. I have about 15 more minutes with y'all. Might stay a little bit longer, depending. But I'll show you all how to sort of export a picture of what you've been doing so far in a little bit. Let me know how close to done you feel like you are. To be honest, I feel like I'm about 10% done. That's about how it is with sculpting, you know. It's one of those things that you can keep working on and keep working on. Guess you can detail it forever. Yeah, that's exactly right. Did any of you actually end up doing a beetle sort of thing? Or did you end up going with your own idea for that? Let me know. I'd love to look at your stuff here towards the end of the stream. Wonder if you guys already have the Discord. And here there's let's see, where is it? 3D Bootcamp. This chat right here is where people post their stuff that's been made during the boot camps. See if we can find some previous sculpting stuff. Yeah, there's some stuff. Guess they're doing some creature, like frog thing with a crown or something. Texturing, modeling. Yeah, they're doing some dragon head. Yeah, so whenever you feel like it, you can post in here and I'll look at the stuff and I'll finish up too and I'll post my own thing. And two, let's see how we do it. Yeah, you can do a nice little pose. And you can export an image and then you save it somewhere and then you should have a JPEG of what you've been doing. I feel like this geometric thing, was cool in the moment, but now it's a little bit in the way because it doesn't fit in with my other ideas so much. I'm wondering what I can do about it. If I should do anything about it. Maybe I should just leave it as is. Like Bob Ross would say, capital accidents. I don't exactly know what it is that it ended up being, but it is some kind of detailed sort of piece. Could be a little golden artifact maybe. But again, today was not about making something perfect. Today it was just about using the brushes and getting to know the software. Honestly, I think my piece is too evenly detailed everywhere if I were to critique myself. And it makes it kind of hard to read any of the shapes. That's okay. I think we still have fun with it today. Try the last ditch effort to simplify some of the shapes to get some kind of medium-sized shapes in there too. Because what we did today was kind of, we moved from straight big shapes into detailing. Silly me, of course, that's a rookie mistake. Because you gotta get those medium large shapes in there too. We can keep those right there. So I think that's kind of cooler, I guess. Really sort of abstract. How are people feeling? At the point where they can submit something? I'm about to call it with my own thing soonish. You could submit something, that's great. I'm wondering what the best angle is. I think mine ended up being super overly detailed. I went a little too ham with it, but I kind of just went and had a little bit of fun, right? Became very sort of abstract, strange. That's okay. So let's try it. So let's try to export. Scrap. It's called Honor. Scrap. One. Save. Ooh. Okay. Let's do a gold one too. Actually, I really don't like these little spheres. I think they look. They're not really doing anything good for my sculpture, I think. Ooh, I think I like that a bit more. It's gonna have some bigger shapes to look at too, so it's not all just scribbles basically. Yeah? Closer, perhaps. F to frame your thing, and then you can export it all. And I'll take a look at some of your submissions on stream if you feel like sending anything in be very happy to see that. If anyone is not on the Discord, let me know and I'll try to get a link for you. I feel like a top view is more fitting for the theme, I guess. Okay, boom. Yeah, take your time, it's fine. Put it in here. That's how you do it. You just save it and then you drag and drop. And I'll call it. Let's say, here's my little weird scarab artifact thingy. Files or pictures? You're submitting a picture. Kind of like I'm doing right now, and you can see it's just submit a picture, and then if you get picked for 3D printing, which is a great reason to actually submit, because you can get your stuff 3D printed, it will ask you for a file. So save it, and then we'll reach out. Oh, nice. These are cool. I like that. Cool spider dude. That's sick. Clarissa, of course, with fantastic looking beetle. ZBrush expert among us. Intimidating the newcomers. Yeah, this is nice. This is exactly the vibe. A little scarab with a bunch of detailing on it. But it looks like you had a lot of fun with it. I can see that. Got to use all the brushes, move stuff around. You feel a bit more comfortable now, I guess, with ZBrush? You can kind of see how the workflow sort of goes. I'll give them all a heart, because they deserve it. Good job, everybody. And if someone is watching this as a YouTube video afterwards or something, or if you're still working on your thing, feel free to submit it after the stream too, you know? Yeah, that's cute. It's kind of the first time I tried doing a little insect thing. It was actually a bit challenging, to be honest. Definitely challenging. And it's also hard because Core Mini is you only have one piece of clay basically, that's it, right? The normal ZBrush, you can get many pieces and put them together and so on and so forth. I don't know if this is a real creature or not, but it looks like it would spew some kind of poison out of its abdomen or something like that. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. I don't know if that was intended or not. Definitely looks menacing. I'm guessing these legs are some snake hook action as well. Very cool, guys. Alright, so I'll call it Bombardier Beetle. Sick. Yeah, I was thinking something like that. Yeah, alright. So I think that about does it for today, and you know what today was really about was just basic introduction to how to use ZBrush, sort of what is the idea behind 3D sculpting, how do you go about it, you know. And I hope that you sort of got that out of today, and if you did, then I would say today is very successful, you know. It's all about the beginning, and then you can sort of take it from here, go on your own little journey. So I'll call it, and then next Wednesday at 8 p.m. we'll be doing the modeling bootcamp, and I'll show you basics of modeling, how I go about it, and we'll do something cool there as well. So that's it for today, guys, and thank you for joining me. It was super nice to have you all here. Made it to 1.5 hours. I'm glad I was. So yeah, thank you everybody for joining. I'll see you all next Wednesday, hopefully. Feel free to join there as well. Modeling can be very fun and meditative too, if that is what you enjoy. So, and also if you're interested in more sculpting and modeling and you like that kind of stuff and maybe you want to take it to the next level, also feel free to check out the school's website, you know, CADA. Of course, you're all welcome. Yeah, no pressure though. Yeah, check out CADA if you want more. If that's not your thing, just join again next Wednesday and we will do some more cool stuff. So yeah, see you all next time, everybody.